So I started, I first got interested in history when I was, 11. No, wait, it was younger than that. I was, 9, and I started reading a lot of historical fiction. And it helped me see history in a different light, because I had only ever, done history, from textbooks, and it was just kind of okay, what year did Christopher Columbus land in America, and what were the names of his ships, and just stuff like that. And so as I read more historical fiction, I got to see history, in a different light, as more of just kind of a collection of stories than anything else. And I really want other people to see it that way. No, everyone just, doesn't like history anymore. And, I mean, that's pretty sad, considering one of these days, what's going on in the world right now with the wars in the Middle East, and ISIS, and earthquakes everywhere, and riots, and that's all going to be dates in a history book one day. And 20, 30 years from now, there'll be some students why should I care about this? And what I would want them, what I would tell them as why it should matter, is it should matter to them because it mattered to us. And we should look at it the same exact way. It's stories, and these are real people, and these things actually happen to them and happen in the world, and we aren't the first ones to walk this earth, and we won't be the last. And it's hard to see dates in a history book as something that actually happened. But we need to not only recognize this, but learn from it. And the only way we're going to do that if we look individually at the stories of what happened and push aside the dates and the names and everything that makes it boring, and look at the story of humanity and its walk through time on this earth. And once that is done, then history will become something sacred again. And that's what I want to do. And I don't, I can find myself, forgetting all the information, the history, and the stories and stuff I've read, and I don't want to, and I don't want other people to forget either. And so I'm going to make this kind of, a series, not exactly, I don't think I'm going to start from, ancient history going up to now, because I'm just kind of going to be, skipping around, I want to know things that most people don't, and look at the individual stories of people, and ask questions and find the answers for stuff, what events led up to Adolf Hitler gaining so much power? What was the South like after the American Civil War? What events led to certain countries gaining independence, and what can be learned from certain people in their lives? And not only learning from the heroes in our history books, but the monsters. And we don't see them as people anymore. I mean, to an extent, I think we have not much problem seeing the heroes as people, but just kind of higher up. But terrifyingly enough, the human race has given birth to some monsters as well, and people who thought they were right and their ways were pure. And we say to ourselves, oh, you know, stuff like that, that can't happen nowadays, and there aren't people like that nowadays, but there is. If there's really anything that can be learned from history, it's that our choices define us. It's not always about where we're born or how we grew up, but the choices we made while that was happening. And so that's what that's what I'm going to focus on with the history aspect, and so y'all will be able to like retain this information. I'll teach it several different ways to help those with different learning styles and that sort of thing. But the series, I'm gonna call it The Story of Us, because that's what history is. That's really all it is. And I look forward to getting to sit here and talk about history because I love it so much. So yeah, I'm just gonna end this awkwardly because it's better than not ending it at all. See you later, and never stop learning.